Hello lovelies, it's Elizabeth Van Cleve here. In this video, I am going to share with you 4 powerful things that you can do to help stabilize your mood throughout the day. I don't know about you, but for myself, one of the things that I have struggled with over the years is having a positive mindset and being able to maintain that. I find that little things start to bother me and then I carry them throughout the day, and it kind of affects the way I feel overall in life. And so I have found some tools that I have utilized in my own life that have been very effective at helping me maintain a more positive state of mind on a daily basis. So if this sounds exciting to you, please go ahead now and give this video a thumbs up. It really does help my channel, and stay tuned. Welcome back. Before we get started, I want to encourage you to stay to the end, where I'm going to give you some bonus hacks that are going to help amplify these 4 tips that I am going to give you now. So the first tip I have is, if you are find yourself feeling grumpy or feeling low, noticing that you're shifting into thought patterns that are negative and you want to shift out of them, the best thing to do in that moment is to ask yourself, what do I really want right now? And then do your best to give yourself that. Now you might think, well, I'm at work and I want to get off work and go home, right? That might be the big picture thing. But if you really get subtle and nuanced in it, and you really think out of the options that I have right now, what do I really want? And it might be, I just want to put on some music, some uplifting music. I want to just go get a nice cool drink. I want to take a little break, about a 5-minute break, and just rest for a minute. It might be something right there at work that you really want, that you could meet. Practice this, because I have found, when I practice it, I have found that it's not like, oh, well, I just want $1 million so that all my troubles will go away. That's not what happens. When you're really asking your inner divine, your inner self, what do I really want right now? The answer is going to come through that you can do for yourself in that moment. And the best thing to do is do it, because as you do that, then that'll open up the way for you to start to relax and to start moving forward into a flow state in life again. So for example, the other day I started feeling stressed, and I stopped and asked myself, well, what do I really want right now? And I realized I was really tired, but I hadn't given myself permission just to be where I'm at, to be tired. I'd basically been fighting it because I hadn't been up that long, and I felt like, well, you shouldn't be tired, right? But when I really just asked myself, what do I really want right now? It was like, I just want to lay down. And so I gave myself that. I fluffed some pillows up on the couch and I leaned over and laid down. And you know what? I only needed that for like 5 minutes. I laid down, I allowed myself to rest, and within 5 minutes, I knew exactly what I wanted to do next. And the next thing that I wanted to do was very inspired, and it was something that I'd been wanting to get done, but I had felt stuck in. And suddenly, boom, I gave myself what I really wanted, and it opened up the way for me to get in a better flow state for the remainder of my day. If you're feeling really grumpy and you ask yourself that question, what do I really want right now? And you feel a little bit confused about, I'm not sure. Think of it as you have this little inner child inside of you that needs something. So if you have a child that is grumpy and crying and whining and whatever, is just in a grumpy mood, a good parent is going to say, okay, this child needs something. It needs attention. It needs a nap. It needs to be fed. It needs a break. It needs a change of scenery, because a child's natural state is to be happy. And so when they're grumpy, it's because they need something. And a good parent isn't going to say, oh, you stupid child, come over here and let me slap you, right? So that you quit being grumpy, which is sometimes exactly how we treat ourselves, right? Get over it. Why are you grumpy? What's going on with you? What are you hormonal? We have this inner dialogue that just gets on top of us and rides us, that we're not more positive and that we're not feeling better than we should be feeling, rather than saying, oh, I'm needing something. My body, my emotions, everything is telling me it needs some attention and it needs something. So think of it as like a little inner child inside of you that has a need, and then do your best to meet that need. So my second tip on something that you can do to help stabilize your mood more throughout the day is take those moments throughout the day that do feel really good. And what Abraham Hicks usually says, milk it, milk it. So what we normally do when we have more of a tendency toward a negative mindset or mind frame is we take those moments that are irritating and frustrating and we milk those. We go throughout the day, we carry them and we ruminate on them and, oh, and they did this and why are they saying this and why do we have this fight, blah, 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 and we just ruminate and we just feel worse and worse and worse. It stresses our entire body out. It drains us of all our life force. But we can do just the opposite when we start to practice, and remember it is a practice. Milking the things that feel good. So for example, this morning, and this happens for me in a lot of mornings when I'm able to get up and just sit and have a cup of coffee. The sun comes in and it's just so beautiful in the sunlight in the living room and the birds in the trees. And I get this warm, beautiful feeling of everything's okay in the world. And so I've learned to milk that when that comes in, when I feel that, to really milk it, like to really, talk about and think about how good this feels. If somebody's with me, it's such a beautiful morning. I love the way the sunlight's coming in. The birds sound so cheerful. It just feels like everything's right in the world. And I just stay in that feeling and milk it as long as possible. And then milk it throughout the day. So later on in the day, I think again back on that beautiful feeling I had that morning. And instead of constantly recalling, it's a new practice, recalling all the bad things and worries, I start to learn to recall that beautiful thing I was able to milk. Sometimes it's a good, really good meal. Like sometimes I'll sit down, I'll make myself something to eat, and it's just so on point, so lovely to eat. Everything about it just tastes wonderful. It just feels good to eat. And I'll milk that. I'll just sit there and enjoy every bite. And then later throughout the day, I'll think of how good that meal was, how luscious that brownie was when I ate it with my coffee. I went but so perfectly with my coffee. It could be your child or grandchild gave you a beautiful smile and I love you, was especially affectionate, or a pet was really affectionate. You gave them a big hug. Milk that. Milk it while you're in it, and then milk it throughout the day. Think back on it. And I'm telling you, this will be huge in helping you to be able to maintain a higher vibration and a better mood throughout the day. So tip number 3, and this is about, what about those outside you that seem to vex you? I'm doing fine. And then, somebody says something or treats me in a bad way, and I'm thinking, why do they just talk to me like that, act to me that way? Or I get cut off in traffic, somebody's just being rude, and it just ruins my day. So what about those things? We're completely out of my control. What do I do then? So this sometimes seems like probably the most difficult thing to navigate through. But one of the things that I have found, and it might feel irritating, but it works. One of the things that I have found that helps tremendously with this is to play the devil's advocate, to begin to ask yourself questions of why that person's acting that way, getting on their side of the coin and defending, like if you were a lawyer and you were defending them and their actions and why their actions were necessary or why their actions were the way they were. Maybe they had a really bad day. Maybe they don't feel good. Maybe they didn't get any rest last night. It's not to justify bad behavior. It's just what this does is it literally takes it off of you absorbing it and telling a story about it that relates to you and putting it back on them. It's just them. It's just their issue. It really had nothing to do with me. I was just in the path, in their pathway, and unlucky me at that moment, right? It really had nothing to do with me. Somebody goes speeding past you. This is when I'll get so mad, especially if I have oncoming traffic and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to cause an accident. And I get so pissed, I've learned to say, well, maybe they're in a hurry. Or maybe it is some punk kid. I was a punk kid at one time. I remember speeding through traffic at times. When you're young, you think you're invincible. Maybe they're really upset about something. Maybe they're just a really good driver and they knew 100% they were just fine, and they were probably a safer driver than anybody on the road because they're a race car driver. Maybe they have skills. I just think of all the positive things of the reasons that I can think of, and then I let it go and I move on from it. So I've taken it off of making it about me and left it on them. And as soon as the feeling dissipates of irritation after I've done that questioning, and I'll do the questioning sometimes or this type of thing out loud because I find that even doing it out loud is even more effective. Like I'm sitting there defending the person. It could be somebody in your household that snapped at you and complained about you. Well, maybe their hormones are off today. Maybe they had a bad dream. Maybe they are feeling miserable. Maybe they have a headache. Maybe they're stressed. Does it justify the way they treat you? No, but it takes it away from it being about you. It takes it away from you absorbing it and starting on throughout the day a storyline. Why do people treat me that way? Why can't I have a better relationship with that person? Why does this shit always happen to me? All that type of thing that you start to carry that's negative, that suddenly made it something you absorbed into your soul. The other way keeps it out here. Now, the fourth tip is to sensitize yourself. And that might sound counterintuitive because you might think, you want to be just the opposite. You want to desensitize yourself. However, stay with me here. What I'm talking about is really bringing your senses into full capacity as much as possible so that you are present in the moment. A lot of times our agitation and our mood dunking is because our mind is chattering about so many things, and it's hard to just switch it off, right? Because our mind just kind of does its own thing sometimes. But that chattering and those storylines that's going on a lot of times will deplete our energy and cause us to feel crappy about life, crappy about ourselves. So to intercept that is to become present. We all have heard about that. If you're more present, you're not in the past, you're not in the future worrying, you're not in the past regretting, but you're just here in the moment, you'll find that there's many, many blessings true. So it's sensitizing yourself to the here and now. What colors do I see around me what beautiful colors? No matter where you are, even if you're in the, in the doctor's office, you can find something. You can find beautiful colors. You can find something that smells. What do I smell in here right now? What does my skin feel like? What does my body feel like? Do I have anything I need to move around a little bit? What sounds are there? How many sounds can I identify here right now? It's bringing yourself into the here and now. Once you have yourself in the here and now, you can bring in some pleasant senses by imagining all the things those senses love the most. So you can bring up the five senses and you think, what are sights that I love to see? I love to see the ocean waves lapping on the shoreline. I love to see a waterfall. I love to see a hummingbird fly, into one of my flowers. I love to see the sunrises and the sunsets and really see them as you're thinking about them. You won't go through them maybe quite so fast because you take your time to really think about what you love to see. What sense do you love that might relate to some of these things? It could be, I love the smell of the ocean and the sea salt air. I love the scent of a newborn baby or a puppy. I love the scent of popcorn at the movies. What type of feelings do you love to feel? I love it when somebody rubs their fingers on my skin. I love a soft blanket to wrap in. I love sinking into a hot tub. I love a massage. You can think about the things that you like to feel, the things you like to taste, chocolate or French fries, or there's just so many things. So you go into all the senses and think about ones that are just so pleasurable to you. And I'm telling you, when I do this, I usually end up with a smile on my face. It feels so good, and it definitely helps me to drop the negative and to be lifted in my soul again and to stabilize my mood. So those are the 4 tips that I have. Let me know down in the comments which one you especially liked and want to get on trying right away. And I really encourage you to really try these out, to write them down somewhere, to review them, and to try them out throughout the day and see how they can actually help you have more stable, more enjoyable days as you move forward. Before I close this video, I promised you that I was going to give you some bonus things that you can do. They're very simple, and they are going to amplify all these tips. They're things that you've probably heard before, except for the very last one is my special one that I created myself. So before I give you these bonus tips, I want to remind you to please hit the like now if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. And if you haven't already subscribed to my newsletter, there will be a link down in the description. The first one, bonus one, breathe. I don't want to lose you now. These are things you've heard, but I'm going to tell you, when you breathe, you calm down your central nervous system. So you can do these other things. First, you got to calm down that central nervous system. And the quickest way to do that is to breathe. Take some deep, slow, methodical breaths. The best ones that I found for me is when I breathe in, I hold it for a few seconds, and then I slowly blow it out. And I do that 2 or 3 times, and each time I try to make the blowing out last longer and the breathing in last longer. The second one is power naps. Telling you, they make all the difference in the world. And you might be saying right now, I don't have time for a power nap, or I'm not going to be able to take a power nap, or I don't sleep in the day, da 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 da. But I've heard there are some countries that have siestas as a natural thing that they do every day, just as natural as everybody eats lunch at a certain time. Siestas, little power naps, because it makes them so much more productive through the rest of the day. So little power naps, when you are feeling tired, giving yourself a little power nap. Even if you're at work and you have a break time, go sit in your car, set your alarm on your phone for 5 minutes, close your eyes, even if you don't fall asleep. Just breathing, resting, concentrating on just allowing all the stress leave your body and just rest for a minute. It's going to make a huge difference. The third one, hydrate, drink. Sometimes just going, when you're feeling stressed in your body, just going and getting 16 ounces of water and downing that is going to help you feel so much better. Your body needs hydration, and so often we forget to drink. So hydrate your body. It's telling your body, I'm thinking about you. I love you. Sometimes I will even say I love you into the water to help charge that water with good vibes before I drink it. But hydrate is another one. The fourth bonus tip that I promise that is my own special tip has to do with when it is about somebody else. Because a lot of times the things that bother us the most have to do with a relationship of some sort. Whether it's a work relationship, a spouse, a friend, a family member, a neighbor. There's so many types of relationships we have, and those relationships sometimes get disrupted. I have found this works so good, and that is send love. This is a little portal, and I just send love through that portal, and I receive love. I imagine in my mind that they are doing the same thing to me. So I'll be like, I send you love. I send you health and vitality. I wish you well. I hope you have a good day. I bless them. I bless them. Now, in the Bible, Jesus taught to bless and curse not, to bless. And if life is like a boomerang and what we send out comes back, then I feel confident that I can bring that back to me, that I can imagine that same person doing the same thing, sending me love, saying, bless you, I hope you have a great day, I appreciate you. Imagine that they're from their heart, because you know what? I believe that their inner divine person, that's exactly what their inner divine would be doing. Even though they may be caught up in ego and in things that may not be healthy, ways of dealing with people and ways of treating people that may be more destructive, I believe at their core, they are love and light, just like anybody else. And so I believe that when I send that love and light, and I imagine that being sent to me, that is definitely having a complete effect on the entire relationship. Most importantly, it is affecting how I live my life and feel on a day-to-day basis. And I personally want to enjoy my life, don't you? So I hope these have been really helpful for you. And if they have, again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with somebody that you think would enjoy this video. It really helps my channel when you comment, when you like, when you share. Have a great day. I'll talk to you next time.